Often wondered how a gigantic warehouse doesn't just descend into complete chaos when a truck shows up with thousands of items? Well, it's not magic, it's all about the data. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on the digital handshake that happens in a system like SAP EWM. This is what tells a warehouse exactly what's coming before a single box is even unloaded. All right, let's dive in. So picture it. A 53-foot trailer backs up to the dock. The doors swing open and it's just packed to the gills with stuff. It could be an absolute nightmare, but it's not. And the reason why is a really powerful digital process that turns all that potential chaos into perfect trackable order. And that is the exact problem that a system like SAP EWM is designed to solve. You see, the whole process really gets started long before that truck ever hits the highway. The very first, and you could argue the most critical step, is what we're calling the digital heads-up. The system has to get an advanced warning that a shipment is on its way. This is what gives the warehouse team a fighting chance to plan and get ready. That's right, the entire physical operation, unloading, stacking, putting away, it's all kicked off by a purely digital event. The main goal here is to create a record in the system that basically says, hey, get ready, this stuff is coming. And there are really two primary ways that this digital alert gets created. Okay, so let's break down these two methods. On the left, we've got the basic process. The easiest way to think about this is like the shipping confirmation you get when you order something online. The main business system creates this document called an inbound delivery and sends it over to the warehouse. Now, on the right, the expected goods receipt is a little different. Here, the system looks at the original purchase order and creates a notification first, and then the warehouse system uses that to build the delivery document. So, two different starting points, but they both get to the same destination. Of course, technology is always on the move, right? In the latest SAP systems, we're talking S4HANA here, the whole process is way more streamlined. Some of these in-between steps just get combined or even disappear completely. But here's the thing to remember. It doesn't matter which method you use, the goal is always the same. Have a perfect digital record waiting in the system before that truck even thinks about backing up to the dock. All right, so all our digital prep work is done. And now, the moment of truth has arrived. Literally. The truck is here. This is where the physical world slams right into the digital record we just created. It's time to log this stuff in. And this brings us to a super important action called goods receipt posting. You got to get this term. Think of it like stamping a passport at the border. It's the official, non-negotiable act of telling the system, yes, these items have crossed the threshold. They are physically in our building. This one action updates everything from inventory counts to the company's financial books. It's a huge deal. This brings up a really interesting question, right? At what exact moment do you make that official call? Do you do it as soon as the driver hands you the paperwork, or do you wait until you've actually started unloading the pallets? The timing of this goods receipt posting is absolutely critical, and there are basically two main schools of thought on how to do it. And here they are. On the left, you have explicit posting. This is the hands-on, deliberate method. A warehouse clerk has to physically go into the system and click the button that says, the shipment is here, post the receipt. It's all about control. Then, on the right, you've got implicit posting. This is the automated, speed-focused approach. Here, the system just assumes that the moment a worker scans a pallet to unload it, the delivery must have arrived, so it triggers the receipt automatically. The logic is simple. Hey, we're working on it, so it's gotta be here.
Now, that automated approach sounds really efficient, but there are definitely some trade-offs. Since the receipt is posted with that very first task, a single truckload with, say, 100 pallets could end up creating 100 tiny little financial documents. You can imagine how much the accounting department loves that. It can also create this weird temporary moment where the warehouse system and the main company system are out of sync. Thankfully, the newer systems give you more control, letting you block any work from starting until that receipt is officially posted, giving you the best of both worlds.
So we've seen the trade-offs, right? You've got control versus automation. But what if we could just make the whole thing simpler? Well, as these computer systems have become more and more integrated, a new, much smarter way of doing things has started to take over. And in the latest SAP S4HANA systems, that's exactly what's happened. The process goes from having a bunch of different steps to being incredibly streamlined and fast. And this is what it looks like. It's called a synchronous goods receipt, and it is beautifully simple. Step 1, an operator posts the goods receipt in the main system. And because everything is so tightly connected, Step 2 happens automatically and instantly. The warehouse system gets the update in real time, and bam! It immediately creates the put-away tasks for an operator on the forklift to go and put the stuff away. There's no delay, no messy extra documents, just one clean, smooth transaction.
Okay, so we've looked at all the nuts and bolts, the digital notifications, the different posting methods, the whole shebang. But let's just zoom out for a second. Why does getting this one process right matter so much? Well, it's because this is the exact point where you turn physical stuff on a loading dock into valuable, reliable data for the entire business. So what's the big reward for all this effort? It's huge. For starters, you get killer inventory accuracy. What the computer says you have is what you actually have. Then you get financial clarity. Accounting knows you own an asset the second it hits the building. All of this drives incredible efficiency in the warehouse with smooth, predictable workflows. And maybe best of all, you get a complete digital footprint, full traceability for every single item that comes through your doors.
Getting this digital welcome just right is the foundation. It's the bedrock of a modern, efficient warehouse. It really does set the stage for everything else that happens inside those four walls. But it also begs the next big question, right? We've mastered how things come in, but what about when those same items need to be picked, packed, and shipped back out?
All right.